Hey guys, so welcome to this week's episode of Sure Podcast. As I told you, things are going to get a little bit more techy. I kind of told my producer today that I wanted to do this, so he was like, okay, when? And I'm like, in 30 minutes. So, I mean, it's not, we want to make a little intro and stuff. We haven't done that yet. Definitely not his fault, all my fault, because I just told him I wanted to do it today. So don't take that out on him. Anyway, today I want to start by talking about things I'm doing in the week in the beginning before I get into my actual blocks of my podcast. So things I'm doing this week. Fasting. I started fasting yesterday because I went to the doctor and I went to a functional doctor because my good friend and confidant, Wendy Shafransky, basically told me to stop being a little bitch about my health. And you guys know I have the autoimmune stuff, but I mean, there are things you control. Like you can control diet. And if I'm honest with myself, eating a bag of peanut butter M&Ms is not good for your autoimmune issues. And maybe I only eat 10 at a time and I give JR 2 because he went to the potty, but it's just not good. So I need to be real. I met with this doctor. She's like, you need to lose 20 pounds it's for your joints, my cholesterol, everything. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to do this. And seeing it on paper made it so much more real. And, I don't know anything about fasting because it's all science. And I try to listen to Tim Ferriss to tell myself I'm smarter. And then I'm like, oh my God, they're talking about chemistry. I have no idea what's happening here. And then I go back to true crime. But I trust Wendy and I trust this doctor and I trust some other people I know that have read the articles, which I won't read, but I trust them that they're right. So I'm doing this fast and there's this cool little thing. And look, guys, I'm 89% through my fast. I can eat it too and I can't wait. So I'm fasting this week. Another thing I wanted to tell you about for my true crime people out there, I know there's a lot of you, I just finished The Anatomy of Motive. It's written by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker, and mainly John, and he, if you watch on Netflix Mindhunter, he is one of the dudes that started Mindhunter that, started the FBI profiling department. So he's talked to all the major serial killers. And I know a lot of times when someone just kills a lot of people, they're like, oh yeah, that's serial killer. There's all kinds of killers. There's family annihilators, there's serial killers, there are spree killers, there are bombers like the Unabomber, there are poisoners, arsonists, and there are literally different motivations and triggers behind all of these. So it's super cool if you're into that thing and you want to know more about why people do things. To read that, The Anatomy of Motive, it gives you a little bit more than just the story of what happened. It gives you insight into how they profile them and can maybe flag them before it gets to a bad point. So that's something cool I think you should check out. It's been out since 99, so I don't know why I just picked it up now. Also, I'm not sponsored yet, but when I do get sponsored, I have a whole 45 views on my YouTube channel. I'm only going to endorse products I really believe in. I promise. And this is one of them. I would totally endorse it. James found it. My husband found it at Fresh Market. It's called Pep Talk. And I can have it on my fast. It's literally LaCroix with caffeine, which is the best news ever. The best news ever. So it's so good. Let's see. How much caffeine does this have in it? I don't know. I've had 7 today, so we'll see. Hear those bubbles? It's delicious. Also, I want to give you a PSA. Forever I used Carmex lip balm because it made my lips feel good, but then I found that there is literally they're hiding a horrible secret, and it's that there's alcohol in the lip stuff, and it addicts your lips to the chapstick. So your lips dry out so fast, and then you're like, where's my Carmex? Where's your Carmex? And before you know it, you're like a freaking meth head with your Carmex. So I broke myself from Carmex and I bought this. It's Jack Black, which is a men's skincare line. I basically bought it for James for Christmas, then I stole them and I use them now. But break yourself from Carmex. If you're out there and are using it, you might think it's good for you, but it's not. It has alcohol in it. It self-addicts you. It's so bad. So bad. So that's how I feel about Carmex. Other things, all right. I also am having a lot of regret, and this will lead me into The Bachelor, which is my first segment today. I have a wedding coming up, and I tried on this pantsuit. Let me tell you, everything out right now is pantsuits, like rompers, and they look good, but it's like, sometimes you're, like, I have a long torso, so I get like it starts too early on my body, and then I get like camel toe. You just get a camel toe. It's not comfortable. I'm like, how can you be in this all night? Plus, anyone that's worn those, when you have to go to the bathroom, it's horrible. You have to undo your whole body to go to the bathroom. And then like you're like peeing on your suit and you just don't want it. So, but there was a pantsuit I tried on and I'm having major regrets. I should have bought it. I didn't. Maybe I'll put up a picture of it later. I will put a picture of it in my stories later and you guys can tell me if I should go back and buy it. All right, so let's get right into The Bachelor. So I'm going to start calling him Low IQ Pete because I have a source that's like really high up in the administration, can't be named, but he's very close. And apparently, if Trump was going to call him anything, it would be called Low IQ Pete. And I'm not like saying I, endorse Trump or anything like that, but I do think the names he calls people are hysterical. And that's how I feel about Pete at this point because he's so dumb. Like, I'll get into it. But so first we start off with the champagne drama. I'm glad they didn't spend like too much time on it because we don't care. Like, I don't care anymore. The one thing I want to say that is a bold-faced lie, Kelsey's like, I don't even like champagne that much. Really, bitch? Because you've had like 20 bottles in total since being on this thing. You literally have 4 million memes on the internet of like champagne splooging on your face. Like, that's how people are going to remember you. Like, with a champagne splooging on your face. Obviously, like, I don't like champagne. Come on, Kelsey. That's like a bold-faced lie. So I want to say Victoria P. slayed. She slayed that date. I 100% think she could win this thing. Like, after seeing what she did to Pete on that date, first of all, she can be normal during a date. She wasn't weird. I still don't get, like, Peter was like, I'm going to take her to a low-key wine bar. Like, that's what my friends and I like to do. But then they go pick out cowboy boots and they go to a line dancing saloon. And I don't know what it, like, when someone tells me we're going to a low-key wine bar, like, we're actually going to a low-key wine bar. We're not dancing. We're like sitting down and drinking wine. They go pick out a cowboy outfit and go line dancing, and then they have this talk about like, and this is what a thing that I hate. I hate how like red wine drinkers think they're elite, and like people that drink red wine, they're like, oh no, I don't like red wine. It's like the same people like, oh no, I only like meat, like very rare. Okay, wow, kudos to you. I guess you're better than all of us. I like my meat well fucking done, and I will not touch it unless it's well done, and I like ketchup on it. That's just how I like it. And if that makes me unsophisticated, I just don't give a fuck. Second, like, I like cheap white wine. I do. I have very expensive reds. They're nice. They give me diarrhea. I don't like them. Like, so maybe it's the combo of that with the red meat. I don't know. Either way, I can't have it now on my fast and my diet anyway. So, but I like how she's like, red wine drinker, you passed the test. And then they're at the bar and she has a cheap fucking glass of Chardonnay. Like, bitch, you didn't order red wine. Like, you're making this big deal about it and you didn't even order it. I mean, the irony there. I don't know how she can live with herself. Then they go into a plane hangar, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, no more planes. Like, why so many planes? We get it, you're a pilot. If he was a lawyer, like, would we be putting him in a law office? Would he be like would we need permission from like the government to get us in the courtroom so we could like sit up at the judge's bench? Like, no, like, it's your, like, get over it. I don't know. I'm just so over the planes. But she gave a great story. Her mother was an addict. Her father died. She took care of her family. She fed her little sister like potatoes with salt on them. I mean, that's really the saddest story I've heard since what's her name? Why can't I think of her name? The Russian girl that hooked up with Dean on Bachelor in Paradise, but she was on Ari's season when she said she used to eat chapstick in her Russian orphanage, which to me meant that she was a sex slave. But I mean, those are like the saddest stories I've ever heard. And Victoria P's beautiful too. And he even said to her, and I had to write this down so I would get it right. He said that he has never been so inspired by someone in his whole life. Okay, like her story is very inspiring and she's a good person, but like it's Monday, it's Martin Luther King Day. You're more inspired by Victoria P than like Martin Luther King Jr., Abe Lincoln, like Winston Churchill. Like those people don't inspire you. The survivors of the Holocaust, the survivors of the Bataan Death March. Like really, she's the most inspirational person ever. You're a pilot. You've watched all those movies, I hope, like Apollo 13. Jim Lovell doesn't inspire you? How he used to follow that aircraft carrier in the middle of the night by seeing the plankton and how it shone off the moon, and that's how he made his way home when his engine died in fucking World War II. But Victoria P inspires you more? Laughable. Also, I don't understand why God talks to all the Bachelor contestants, but not to the rest of us peasants. He said that God sent him a shooting star and talked to him, and that he thinks Victoria P is that shooting star. So I think she won, basically, but I also think the whole thing is just like, really, God is not talking to you, Peter. If he was, then she wouldn't be the most inspiring person you've ever met. Then we go into Demi. Demi's date is so gross, and I loved Demi, but like this whole sex positive thing, so much sex. She brings in these two really weird girls named, I had to write this down too, their names are Champagne and Killer. And Champagne has hair that I'm gonna tell you bothers me so much. I get like the light pink purple hair trend, and I think it can be really cute when it's done right. But when it is done wrong, it looks disgusting. It looks like you are carny. It looks like you are a drug addict. Like it just doesn't look good. Like she didn't dye her hair properly and then she just put some pink in and it looks horrible. I hate that hair trend. If you're gonna do it right. So they go and Demi makes them all put on lingerie, which is so weird. And then they have to go to this pillow fight, like wrestling match. It's like very Animal House-ish. And one of the girls is like, yeah, it was really cool. It like brought me back to my childhood. I'm like, oh, okay, so you were locked in a basement for child porn? Like who in their childhood put on lingerie and had pillow fights with their friends? Not me, but I was also in the backyard, like building a fortress, getting ready for like the Germans to invade. So, I mean, I wasn't the typical child, but I will say that no one I know had like very sexy lingerie parties with pillow fights. I also needed to note how Kiki she said lingerie in a way I've never heard it said. And I need to know, she said, they gave me some lingerie to put on. Have you guys ever heard that pronunciation? Lingerie. Am I just not sophisticated again with my well-cooked meat and cheap white wine? I don't know. The Sydney versus Aliyah feud just kind of like pissed me off. Like, no, I do not like Aliyah. She's horrible. She is horrible. For such a skinny person, she has so many bad angles. She has a double chin and like she's always like every shot, look through the thing. It's like, how did she win Miss Anything with that face? Like, you need to put your chin out, honey. Like, I'm on your podcast and I'm doing this. Like, I'm not sitting back like this. I mean, you look Jabba the Hutt. I mean, her angles are so bad for like a beauty queen millennial. Aliyah, what are you doing? Drop my phone. Hold on, I need some of my water. Promise I'll stop doing that weird wink one day. Sorry, Jared, I'm creeping you out. But also, like, Sydney has no evidence of her being faker than anybody else. Sydney has no evidence, and she's getting so mad at Aliyah. And I'm like, girl, listen, if you want to succeed on The Bachelor show, someone's knocking, and, like, I've rented this space out. I mean, come on, guys. If you want to succeed on The Bachelor show, you need to know that you don't get involved in girl-to-girl drama. You just, like, don't. Hold on one sec. Anyway, Aliyah Sydney. If you want to succeed in The Bachelor, you stay in your own lane, as Hannah B said. Good thing to learn from her. Hot tip. You don't get involved in girl-to-girl drama. It never works well. So Sydney is like so angry for like no reason. Sydney, you're doing well. Just stay in your own lane. But no, she has to get all involved with Elia. But we do actually find out that there is evidence, against Elia. And that comes from Victoria P., who Peter thinks is like a saint sent from God. So he's clearly going to believe her. He's like, I can't believe she asked her like to tell the producer she didn't know her. That's really creepy. And I can't believe Peter even had, and this is why I think, the source has told me that everyone's calling him low IQ Pete now, because who is going to let a girl stay on or even have regrets that like boldface lied to your face and boldface lied to your face anyway, is clearly like demonic. Plus she's not even that cute. She is one of those people, there's people that look totally different without makeup, and it's like beer goggles, but when you're sober, and then when they take their makeup off, you're like, whoa, who is that? Like, who is that? It's Gollum. And I feel like she's one of those tricky girls. She's really good at doing makeup, but without it, she looks kind of like Schmeagol. So she's really not that cute. I don't know why he feels so much regret. And then she comes back in the next episode. I don't think he'll let her back in, but like, why? Is that the best thing we have going? It was kind of a boring episode. There's also a pool party, which is never good. It kind of like is a flashback to Colton's season when Hannah B and Kaylin got in that huge fight at the pool party and ruined the time for everybody. So the pool party is like never good. And I mean, they foreshadowed that by showing like an empty pool float in the pool. And I'm like, where is this going? Like Dateline? Is there gonna be like a floating body like next? Like that would have made it better. Again, Kiki gets a rose, and I literally the only thing she said this entire season is talking about the lingerie. I don't know how she gets a rose. She's had no time with him whatsoever. So that's my Bachelor recap. Again, wasn't that impressed with this episode. Victoria P's slaying, and what happens next week didn't look very exciting to me. I was surprised that McKenna got the last rose. Like I thought he liked her more than that, but I guess not. They need to like up on her artificial intelligence, like reprogram her to like make him like her better or something. So I also want to talk about really quick, like I meant to talk about this first, but then I got sidetracked because I'm nervous today. I don't know why I'm nervous, but just being real. So my vibe today, it's like really cool in Florida. It's beautiful out. And like, do you ever get like that feeling that reminds you of other times in your lives? And like the song that reminds me of is Taylor Swift, her album Red. And the song is Holy Ground. It's like, darling, it felt good, never looking down. And right here where I stood. Mom, I can't talk right now. Is holy ground. Ooh, do 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 do. That's the song, and it reminds me of. It brings me back to a really good time in my life. I was in my last year of law school, CLI, at the Stark District Attorney's Office, and I remember like driving, and it was like beautiful out because it took like 20 minutes to get there from my apartment. And there's literally only 2 state attorneys in that office. There's 1 felony and 1 misdemeanor prosecutor. So I wasn't involved in this case at all. I'll never talk about the cases I was involved in. But I got to watch my first death penalty sentencing phase. And for those of you that don't know, Stark is actually famous for Old Sparky, which is the electric chair in Florida. We don't use that anymore. We use lethal injection, but it is there. You can see it. It's pretty cool. So I got to go to Stark, and I got to see my first death penalty sentencing phase. And it was so much fun because, well, first of all, just to give you a little background, this guy had already been convicted of murder and was serving a life sentence. And he had subsequently been on trial for killing his cellmate. The cellmate had been accusing him of being homosexual, but not just like, there's a difference between prison gay and gay in prison. And like, he was saying that he was just gay, not prison gay. Our defendant, clearly, the guy in this case, is already a murderer, so he has very low impulse control. So, I mean, what better way to deal with an accusation than to just shank someone and kill them? So he just shanked him and killed him. And what was really interesting about this one was that he was a pro se defendant, meaning he represented himself. So we already, by the time I saw it, we'd gone through the guilt phase, which is really no different than any other jury trial in a capital case where there's 12 jurors. There has to be a unanimous verdict. So they'd already found him guilty. So now in Florida, we have a sentencing phase, which is essentially can actually even last longer than the trial itself. It's insane. The state has to put on aggravating factors, evidence towards aggravating factors, which can be anything like it was done in a heinous, atrocious, cruel manner. You killed a police officer is an aggravating factor. Basically, proof factors that the jury can then use in their recommendation to death. And mitigating factors, the defense puts on mitigating factors, which are usually like the sob story, like I grew up without a dad, so I'm a murderer, or like I did drugs when I was young and I have no brain left, or my IQ is lower than the average person, all this stuff that they put on as to why they shouldn't be murdered. So, by the state, essentially. So, this guy was wild, and it really seemed like everything he put on was not mitigating for him at all. And the jury did end up convicting or recommending death for him 12-12, which is hard. I mean, actually at that point, the law had not changed yet, and it just had to be a majority death. Like, for example, the jury could still recommend 10-2 to death, and the judge would hand down a death sentence, or could hand down a death sentence. But the law has actually since changed, and it has to be unanimous on the penalty side too, so it has to be 12-12. And to show you guys like how hard that is to get 12 people to vote for death, Ted Bundy did not get a unanimous death penalty recommendation. He got a 10-2. 2 people thought that Ted Bundy should live. That's insane. That is insane. So that's how hard it is. So this guy probably, his conviction and his sentencing will get upheld. So that's one appeal the state won't have to do. Anyway, so basically my vibes today are great because they're bringing me back to that time in my life. So who wouldn't want to be brought back to a death penalty shanking sentencing phase? Okay, now on to Love After Lockup, that we're on true crime. So if you guys don't listen to Love After Lockup or watch it, so you can tune out because, hey Jared, how much time we have left?
7 minutes.
Oh God, 7 minutes, so much to say. Okay, hold on, need some caffeine. All right, so starting with Clint and Tracy, my very favorite couple ever. And if you haven't seen them, just Google on YouTube, Clint and Tracy motherfucking crack scene. It's the best ever. It's when he calls his mom and he's like, Mom, it's motherfucking crack. Because clearly the red flags for crack weren't up before. But anyway, so Clint and Tracy have been arrested. Clint's already bonded out because he was just arrested on, he says, a weed pipe, which is, like, from my experience, what they all say a weed pipe is, but it's really like a crack pipe or a meth pipe, which look different. I mean, they can look similar, but I mean, Clint, nothing about you says weed, and everything about your face, your pockmarks, your teeth, your attitude, and the fact that your girlfriend in the passenger seat had meth on her is screaming to me that that's a meth pipe. So let's just be honest with everyone and drop the fact that it's a weed pipe because there's no weed found, only meth. And your face is telling us the story. So he bonded out because it was probably just possession of like paraphernalia, which is a misdemeanor, but she had the drugs, so she got a $5,000 bond, and they're acting like that's so much. It's like a very low bond for her criminal history, and meaning that you would literally only have to put up like $500 to a bondsman so she can't get out. And they show her, she has like half her head shaved. She's like, yeah, I'm in this suit because I have an eating disorder. No, you're in a suicide suit. Like, she's in one of those like black padded suits. That's not an eating disorder suit. I've never heard of that. It's when you're in that black padded thing, that's because like we think you're going to try and kill yourself. Like, that's probably what they should have had on Jeffrey Epstein, but Jesus, they gave him knives, so who knows. Anyway, she's in the black padded suit, and he's like, I love how he goes to Walmart. He's like, this is the last place I had with my goddess. And they're like in a Walmart parking lot. He's like, we just fell asleep here after the game. I'm like, oh, okay, so you ran out of meth, like you like just passed out, and then a cop knocked on you. Anyway, it's so great. It's so great. So, but I just had to like give you guys the angle, the true crime angle of what really went down with Clint and Tracy, because they're clearly both on meth, and now she's in jail again. Michael, Sarah, and Megan. So gross. Michael's so gross. Disgusting. Megan needs to go with Rock. ROC, all caps. Rock, like, yes, I get he's Michael's bro, but like, Rock even said, he's like, she's a good woman, and Rock is right. And she should leave Michael and go with Rock, because Rock is better looking, to be honest, and he seems like he respects her more. And we find out they actually had sex. They didn't just kiss. So we find that out. I do miss Sarah's voice when she like tries to be kind of hood. I miss that. She would like talk through her teeth. Now she's like very sensible and always talking normal. And I just really miss when she'd be like, Michael, I told you. I done told you not to mess with me. I told you. But you treat me with no respect. Treat me with no respect. And if you guys haven't seen that, you need to go back because she's great. And I do a great Sarah impression. Lamar and Andrea. I love how Andrea's standing up for herself and the kids. And she's like, I don't care. Like, I get they would want more diversity there, but she's like, I don't care. Utah's safer. And her kids, they're great. They like have the best education. They're smart kids. Like, why does he want to move them to LA? I don't get it. Nothing is good in LA. Like Alabama Hannah's in LA. Markle and Harry are probably soon to be in LA. You don't want to go to LA. If you go to LA, your life's going down in flames. Lacey is also disgusting, and she still has the same dress on she's had for like 4 episodes. I'm like, girl, change your maxi dress. And she never wears a bra. It's just so gross. And I think she picked Sean and John because she says their names like both the same. So in case she messes up, she can just be like, no, I said Sean. Because she'll be like, Sean is married to Sean, but John's in jail. And I'm like, is she saying Sean or John? She's like, oh my God, John. Oh my God, John. And I'm like, Sean or John? Say it. Who is it? So I think she did that like purposefully so she could say John. And we don't know what it is. But she needs to pick. I'm sick of her. She's disgusting. So, yeah, Brittany and Marcelino, again, they just creep me out, so I don't like talking about them. But her story about her parents stealing her quarters from her collectible quarter book was like really sad to like buy drinks. She's a good person, and I feel sad for her that her parents stole her quarters and then abandoned her in a hotel. I mean, I think she's doing the best she can, and I'm proud of her. So that's all I have for you guys this week. There's more coming, more I'm thinking about. I'll try and make it more structured, and I'm gonna try and come up with an intro. It's so weird that Jake Owen didn't get back to me on making a musical intro. I thought he might have watched her podcast, but he clearly didn't. So we don't need Jake Owen. We just need me. So I'll try and make up a little ditty. Maybe have JR help me. Maybe Gabby. And we'll see. Thanks for tuning in. I got 45 views last week, guys. So that's cool because that means like half the people that know me kind of listened. I think I watched it myself like 4 times. So I guess that counts. My mom watched it too. So anyway, bye. Peace.